The Supreme Court of Kenya is yet to give an advisory opinion on the implementation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights wants the apex court to decide whether Chapter 6 of the Constitution sets up a fit and a proper test for leadership for elective and appointive officers. Over the years, leaders with questionable integrity issues have continued to assume office, with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission giving them the green light. And on News Center this morning, we are interrogating this dicey issue just a day after Dr. Ben Chumo, who's facing criminal charges, presented himself for vetting for the SRC chair position. All right, so welcome back to News Center. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're joining us, good morning. And of course, we have been updating our viewers on a number of top stories that have been developing in the last couple of days, hours, if you like. And we want to get into this discussion, but I just want us to get a bite from Nyali Member of Parliament, Mohammed Ali. Well, he was quite irked by the fact that Ben Chumo, the former boss of Kenya Power, presented himself for vetting for the SRC position. Let's just hear what he had to say before we get into our discussion. All right, so we'll be having that in a few moments. Let me just introduce my guests here in studio. I'll start from my extreme left, Kevin Osido, from the County Governance Watch.
Extreme right.
Extreme right. Extreme right, yeah. Thank you so much for that correction. It's great to see you, Kevin. Long time.
We
also, yeah, long time it has been. We also have Javas Bigambo, who's a governance expert. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Betty.
Immediate right. All right, so I understand that we have that bite from the Nyali Member of Parliament. Let's just listen to that first.
Demanding for this job, asking for this job, and you know that you are a corrupt person.
Mheshimiwa, just hold on.
I'm just asking.
Just hold on. I gave you the benefit of doubt because I wanted you to frame it in a way that you can ask him a question which is not incriminating in nature. You cannot conclude that we have a corrupt person sitting his ass.
I am innocent until I'm proven guilty. And I would be very reluctant. I know this committee will be equally reluctant as a committee responsible for making laws in this country to be invited to deny me an opportunity just because somebody has accused me unfairly and I haven't been processed through court.
What gives you that gut to come and ask for this job and yet you haven't cleared the other one in court?
I sometimes tend to think that somebody who might perhaps be looking at this opportunity that you're about to give me and trying to take it away from me. Chairman, I really want to plead with this committee that you should not be invited to this particular situation where then somebody just throws some spanner in the works to deny me this opportunity.
All right, so we'll be getting into that discussion in a few moments, but we just want to bring you some breaking news that we understand the traders in Kisumu's Juakali area this morning counting losses following a dawn fire that destroyed their structures and property. I beg your pardon. Kevin Ogutu is on the ground right now, and we just want to speak to him to give us the latest details. Kevin, just paint for us a picture of what is currently happening there, and do we know what led to this fire? All right, so we have lost Kevin Ogutu, but we had spotted him. He's going to be joining us in a few minutes. But as we wait for that, let me just indulge my guests here in studio. Kevin, I'd like to start with you. So yesterday, many Kenyans, were, angry, to say the least, that Ben Chumo was, presented himself for vetting, for the SRC job. I don't know what your thoughts are with regard to that.
Thank you so much, Betty. From where I sit and from a governance perspective, this is unfortunate. It is irregular, and indeed it describes what one French psychologist called Emilio Hedden calls the anomy of a state, when state institutions and instruments fail to do what they're supposed to do. And when I say state institutions, what I mean here is, for instance, why is the former MD of KP of Kenya Power in a hurry to seek for an opportunity? And from the clip that you just showed, he's asking my friend Mohammed Ali, he says it's not fair for anyone to just throw some, issues to deny someone an opportunity. Right. No one is denying Mheshimiwa Chumo an opportunity. What Kenyans want to see happening in this country is a state where the state will be able to guarantee everyone an opportunity to serve this country. And this is not to say that there are not so many people who can be SRC chairs.
Yes.
It is not to say that institutions have failed to work, but I want to push, for instance, to the extent that Kenyans can be able to learn from our mistakes. Why are we having someone who has already been suspected, and in fact his immediate employment was because he had issues? Why are we taking so long to dispense of these issues? So can institutions that need to deal with some of these challenges really do their work and be seen to be doing their work? Because I think Kenyans will not just sit and watch these kind of things going on, and this really will discourage so many people from exercising their citizen responsibility of patriotism.
All right. Interesting. Jarvis, just coming to you. One of the things that the chair said, Joseph Limo, is that he's not yet guilty. He's not proven guilty. He's still innocent. Even him, he said, Ben Chumo said, you know what, the case is still in court. I am not guilty until it's proven.
It is true what the chair said, that he is innocent until proven guilty, because of a fundamental principle of law, of the presumption of innocence, which has been held for a very long time.
Right.
And even just to cite Lord Sankey in the case of Wilmington versus DPP, the principle of presumption of innocence remains very strong and entrenched within Commonwealth, English common law. And it is a fundamental right. When you look at various pieces of legislation, it is sacredly preserved, even within our pieces of legislation. When you look at Article 11 of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, the presumption of innocence as a principle of law has been preserved.
Yes.
But the preservation of that principle must not necessitate that we must be blind to integrity and the sense of justice. And that is why we must be a bit hesitant to see the process just going on because of that fundamental principle of law. It is important, yes, for Mr. Chumo to find his days and time within the corridors of justice and have himself cleared or otherwise. But the fact that he held a position at a state corporation and his integrity and leadership was indicted by the accusations that he's facing, he must not wait for that determination by the courts. Actually, he must actually self-indict. He must say, even though I feel ready and prepared to serve a nation as the chair to the Salaries Commission, I think because of the indictment, let me hold until I'm cleared, then I will rise to take up any opportunity that chance may provide. The other issue here faces President Kenyatta. Aware too that Chumo was facing all this indictment, has nominated Mr. Chumo for a constitutional office position, because that's a constitutional commission.
Yes.
And this individual is going to take up the reins of a constitutional institution. Remember that, and I don't want to disagree with President Kenyatta, who said, he swore while in Mombasa, and I quote, haki ya Mungu ufisadi lazima utakwisha hapa Kenya. And then again, he goes ahead to nominate Mr. Chumo, who has been indicted.
Yeah.
That tells me to that extent then that I must be ready to disagree with President Kenyatta. Why is it that we Kenyans are always wallowing in abundance of madness? What we're witnessing today is integrity and leadership in chains.
All right.
And to that extent, we as a people have refused to make sense of the values of our nation. We have refused to make sense of leadership and integrity. We have refused to make sense of sense itself.
Interesting view there, but also maybe a counter-argument. You know, this nomination came, you know, before, you know, the DPP came out and said that this guy could be facing such charges or could have done this and this, you know, when he was the KPLC boss. Don't you think that that accounts, like that almost absolves the president from this? The
issue is this. It does not fully absolve the president because, remember, he is the head of state. When he nominated Mr. Chumo for that, that nomination could be withdrawn. When these accusations came by, that nomination could be withdrawn and have another person nominated for the same. Because he has not been fully appointed, so that the process of having him out of that office then would go through some legal measures.
Right.
It was just a nomination, and he had not yet faced the Parliamentary Committee.
Yes, yes.
So it was incumbent upon the president, who has got the honors and that prerogative of nomination, to have recalled the nomination of Mr. Chumo and nominated some other
Somebody
person.
else.
Because actually this was the opportune time for recalling the nomination of Mr. Chumo.
All right.
We must not wait. Look, the other question now that arises with regard to the same is whether we as a people and the institutions that we have and the government of the day is actually serious about fighting corruption in this country. And I would answer that question by saying this, that yes, there are sets of people in this country who fully believe that we are on the right course of fighting corruption in this country. And those sets of people include, one, the leadership of the day, the Jubilee administration. Two, individuals who are beneficiaries of corruption. Three, the police and organs behind the fight of graft.
All right.
And four, individuals who suffer from the sicknesses that I've mentioned. Because to the extent that we are thinking we are fighting graft, yet we are compromising on the ethos and pathos of leadership and integrity and making little sense of even the very weighty issue of leadership and integrity, I think it is a joke that we are actually fighting corruption.
Interesting. Kevin, I'd also like you to chime in into that discussion to do with the nomination. For President Uhuru Kenyatta to nominate somebody, isn't there like prior information about who this person was, what he did in the previous post that he held? Is he really suitable? Because how else do you account for the suitability of this person to even get a nomination in the first place? Aren't those things considered and interrogated before it's done?
Very true, very true. And goes on to the discussion around who does the search.
Yeah.
Because there is one thing to basically present a name, and of course that due diligence is done, where the DCI is involved, the ODPP is involved, NIS is involved, all these institutions. And that is why in my prelude I was very categorical that institutions that need to do the work that they need to do that work, and that work has to be seen to be done. Because then the president, I wouldn't really blame His Excellency the President if we were to pick on who is to be blamed, because the president relies on organs of government, agencies of government to be able to oil the engine of governance, then to run a government. And to the extent that these agencies are not doing their work, and Betty, you and I and Javas know how this country many times is run, both during the day and also at night. Over time, we have had people talk about cartels, including a former Chief Justice who left office on the premise of my inability to perform because of cartels that run a country. So if we were to probably look at what results do we get when we do searches or carry out a due diligence process on Javas, for example, who do we send to be able to go and do that? And what are the findings that they make of the files? And how do we then prove that what is written in the file is what we receive? Because I think that on this one, really the onus is on Mr. Chumo to just say that I am a patriot, you know, a respecter of the Kenyan people. I don't think it is fair for me to take this office, especially when I still have issues. Because then what we'll see happening is Kenyans will start organizing to be able to go and demonstrate against things which really are not even worth our time, because we have serious issues to deal with. But I think this hasn't got to that level because we have the Parliamentary Committee dealing with it. I am happy about what the majority leader said, that we'll not spend time talking about issues that we are aware about. And I am hoping that the majority leader will be able to stick to those words. Because again, we have seen people making statements during the day, and 2 nights go, and tomorrow they say I was misquoted. So we want to stand with people who will be able to speak on behalf of the Kenyan people to stop these kind of anomalies. And I want to speak to some of the institutions, like the judiciary, also to hasten their agency insofar as interpretation of laws. In your introductory remarks, you said Chapter 6, we are still waiting for the judiciary to make interpretations. Let this be hastened. Let institutions that deal with corruption as well also hasten their steps so that we don't see cases that can be dispensed in 6 months or in 6 days, taking 6 years, because that really is a sense of anomy in my view.
Interesting. I just want us to take a look at some of the key political figures, who, have faced the leadership and integrity test, before. And of course, we start from the top leadership. That's President Uhuru Kenyatta. You remember back in 2013, he was elected and he was still carrying the cross or the burden of the ICC case together with his deputy, William Ruto. You also have Ferdinand Waititu there, who's not alien to a lot of controversies. At that time, he was actually facing some incitement cases. Apart from that also, we have, let's just move on to the next board there. All right, so of course we have Peter Ojamong very recently, you know, actually he was even arrested with regard to graft cases. You have Ken Lusaka, remember the wheelbarrow scandal, whereby a wheelbarrow was going for, was it 100,000 shillings? Yes. 100,000 shillings, and right now he is a speaker. Then, of course, you have Dr. Ben Chumo, who's now facing some economic crimes. The case is still in court, but we are waiting to just see if indeed we'll get a final verdict of this. So, Javas, just looking at our history, really, right from the top leadership of this country, are we serious about that leadership and integrity clause in the Constitution?
The historiographical projections and context in which we are having this discussion today is a pellucid demonstration that since the founding of this nation, we have actually never been very serious about the combating of graft. Remember that, for instance, even in 2002, when the Kibaki administration took over the reins of power, beyond being declared the most happy nation, happy people on earth, the Kibaki administration rode to power on the claim and push of zero tolerance on corruption. And then what happens? A few months after getting into power, the Anglo-Leasing scam. And other scams and maize and every other scam. So one wonders whether the declarations and pronouncements made by our leaders are only mouth deep, or they are words that come from the depth of their hearts and minds. Because I think also it brings to fore the question of consciousness or lack of by our political leaders. One wonders, what happens to a man or woman the moment they are sent to high office? Because they become something totally different from what they declared when they were seeking the mandate of the people to run for office. The other thing is this. Why is it that with the seriousness and commitment that we have had, we have still failed to resolve various critical issues? The Tokyo embassy scandal, the Anglo-Leasing itself, the clouds, the dark clouds of the Goldenberg scandal are still hanging atop our heads. There is the NYS scam, NYS 1 and NYS 2. Yes. Now we've gone to court because of about 500 million shillings. The other billions that have been lost remain unmentioned, and the individuals even who are supposed to be taken to the courts. We appreciate and I celebrate the kind of diligence and good effort on the part of the DPP Honorable Haji. But that's not enough, because there is so much to do. There's so much ground to be plowed, so much ground that remains unplowed in the fight against corruption.
Interesting.
But moving forward, we claim to be a religious nation. We say that we are about 60 or 65% Christian. Why can't we then just embrace the words of the prophet Amos, that let justice roll down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream?
That's an ideal society.
I agree. I agree. But you see, it's not just about ideal, because we must actually hitch ourselves to the highest aspirations. When we gave unto ourselves the Constitution of Kenya 2010, looking at it, article after article in their multiplicity, we did not tell ourselves that we are going to achieve this within the first year, 2 years, 10 years, or even 100 years. We said that we as a people are giving this unto ourselves as our highest aspirations of governance. When we talk about integrity, we may not attain 100% integrity for any person walking atop the earth. But we are saying that because these are our highest aspirations, we must not only walk towards that direction, but we must be seen actually to be walking toward that direction. And that is what is missing.
But the other thing also, I mean, even with that consideration, even some of the leaders who we're talking about, you know, they have been elected by the same people who want now to hold them to account. They're the same people who, you know, who go online and they're angry about this leader and this leader. But we're the ones who elect these people. So do we also have a problem, even with Kenyans understanding, you know, the importance of this particular article of leadership and integrity?
The challenge is in the understanding of the law and the practice, in my view, Betty and Javas, because our constitution is very strong, and it's given life to lots of aspirations of Kenyans. The constitution has given us the opportunity to petition. The constitution has given us the opportunity to demonstrate and to speak out our voices. But how we do it and the results of the same is really what discourages so many people, because you spend hours online on KOT hashtag and you're saying, spewing all this hate and spewing all the anger and spewing all the, the recommendations that you want to see, but to who? And then what next? Yeah, because then we need to begin to move on. And I like Okia Mtata in this. I had a session with him on Sunday, and I was asking him, what really makes you do this? And he said, Kevin, I just want to be a good citizen. Because if institutions fail to do what they're supposed to do, then it is the citizens really who need to take up and begin to move these institutions to respond to their aspirations.
Right.
And our Constitution has given us the opportunity to petition. Who has petitioned, for instance, Sospita Ojamong's case? How far is the case? The media comes and says, yeah, we are waiting for him to arrive. He has arrived. He's been here for 2 days. Tomorrow, another case is here. No one wants to follow up on really what happened on the Sospita Ojamong case, for example. What lessons then can we be able to learn from that? And Kenya is really a nation that also prides itself to be able to setting certain paces, and Kenya has been anchored within. If we were to look at good governance indices of different countries, Kenya is moving towards a situation where we can say we have strong working institutions. But will those institutions only work because we have a constitution that gives life to institutions? Those institutions, in my view, Betty, need to do what they are expected to do. And in this case, therefore, the ODPP needs to fast track on corruption cases. The citizens need to be empowered through education. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is yet another constitutional commission. I am waiting to see that day when EACC will go on public rallies and, drives into estates and, just having an opportunity with citizens and letting them know what their power is insofar as stopping leaders from getting corrupt and practicing corruption. Because then if we do not do that, we will continue to having these cases like Javas can be able to, enumerate them, and one is coming up over another. But that is also not to say that Kenya is deficient of good people who can be able to take leadership positions.
Right.
We want to see these good people like Javas, Kevin, Betty, and all the others coming up then to be able to provide this alternative leadership.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if we were to look at our history, then compromise of good people will continue to take place. Corruption indices will continue to, keep going up. Yet we have institutions, Betty, that are supposed to do what they're supposed to do. So in my view, I think today it's about institutions. Let ODPP do his work, and I'm happy about what Mheshimiwa Haji is doing. We want to see as much of that being done. EACC needs to come up, and the judiciary, expedite on these corruption cases so that we see people getting arrested and giving back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God.
Well, that's what we want to see. Javas, I'd like you to comment on something that Kevin also said, the recycling of leaders. I mean, don't we have any other person who can do this thing? He was, Ben Chumo was, the head of Kenya Power for quite a number of years. Does he have to be the same person who now has to chair this others, this commission? Because we're seeing a lot of recycling still, and it's something that we've talked about quite a number of times. What is your take on that, really?
Well, it is interesting that such phenomenon has dogged our politics and appointment of persons into public office for a very long time.
Right.
But because I'm African and I'm in Kenya, I recall a saying and a proverb from the place where I come, that he who walks not far from home thinks that it's only the mother who knows how to prepare ugali. And that is why individuals who hold high office, who are supposed to be appointing various individuals, have refused to cast their eyes beyond, to lose sight of the shore. And so they have remained with the shorelines. We need to have the president casting his sights. Let him lose the shorelines. I know individuals in this country, young and fairly young, who are capable of working and performing and serving this country. Individuals who, whether you go online or offline, their voices have remained the same.
Yes.
I am not campaigning for any person, but I know individuals celebrated such as Dr. Wandia Njoya. I know individuals such as Cyprian Nyamwamu. I know individuals such as Boniface Mwangi. In fact, for example, I appreciate the good work that Honorable Abukala has done at the EACC.
Yes.
Can't we have, for example, somebody like Boniface Mwangi heading the EACC, Because he has been a vanguard of anti-corruption crusade, then can we say that give him the oath of office, let him serve, then let us see him deliver.
Yes, exactly.
Then also give him other people, appoint other people to work with him, individuals whose voices have not varied because of opportunity.
Right.
But the other thing that also makes us continue on this path.
But Javas, that has been tried through Professor P.L.O. Lumumba.
Well, but you see, the fact that only one individual was given such an opportunity should not be an indictment of all the others. The other thing is this. Let's face it. Young people, young leaders should also get these opportunities. I am absolutely impressed by the young talent and leadership and imagination that is in our parliament today and the Senate. While they are not as pure as the term pure can be defined, but the individuals who are actually impressive in what they are doing. When you see their roles in committees, it is something that has been lacking for a very long time.
Right.
And so moving forward, why can't we as a people start demanding of our leaders, of the president, of governors, all these opportunities for other people?
All right.
Because unless we, and why other people don't do that? Some people will sit on their laurels because they say, if I criticize the government, then maybe someday an opportunity that would have been mine will not come my way.
All right.
I mean, what hogwash is this? This country is in need of brave men and women who will not only speak, but who are ready to serve. Because unless in the times of Napoleon, he had compelled his soldiers to be prepared for war, to serve every time and every day, he would not have had the finest armies of all time.
Interesting.
So this time, this country of ours, with the constitution that we have, we need soldiers who are willing not to sleep, to wake up, to keep awake, and to serve.
Interesting. I would have given him an office, but we want to... I would definitely have given him an office. But I want us to just go to Eldoret and speak to my colleague Elvis Koskei, who has a number of residents there. He's talking about really this same issue to do with integrity of our leaders. Elvis, good morning. It's great to see you. So what are the residents of Eldoret saying about this particular issue to do with integrity? And of course, you know, some of these leaders still presenting themselves for other bigger opportunities, even when they were rumored to have done something wrong.
Betty, we are in Elgeyo Marakwet County, where opinion is divided here in Iten Town, Elgeyo Marakwet County. And as you may know, the Kenya Power Managing Director, Ken Tarus, hails from Kapkoi. This is in Elgeyo Marakwet County. And also Ben Chumo, who hails from Nandi County. So it's an affair that has involved senior government officials from the North Rift region. So according to residents here, some are saying that the war on corruption should not be politicized, and maybe it may be also be drawn that is targeting one community. Others are supporting the war on corruption because the government has intensified the war on corruption. But labda niweze kusikia tu maoni yako kama mkazi wa Elgeyo Marakwet County. Hivi vita dhidi ya ufisadi kwa kufikia sasa, tumeona kuna baadhi ya maafisa ambao wameweza kushtakiwa hivi sasa, ambao ni washukiwa. Wewe kama mkazi wa hapa una maoni gani?
Kwa majina mimi ni Samson Kivlagat, mkaaji wa Elgeyo Marakwet County. Kwa vile kama kina Kento Rus, mimi ni mkaaji kweli hapa, lakini sijawahi kuonea makosa yoyote. Kama serikali wameanza kufuatilia maneno ya corruption, wafuatilie kwa kila upande, isikuwe upande moja. Vile vile Kento Rus kweli kama serikali wameona wako na makosa, lakini kwa sisi wananchi chini ana makosa kwa sababu anasaidia kila upande. Wenda wale wenye wako kwa ofisi chini yake ndio wamefanya hiyo makosa, ndio sasa wenye wako chini yake inastahili au wenyewe wafuatwe na ichunguzwe vile vile, kwa sababu vile sasa Kento Rus ameshikwa, vitu mingi imesimama kwa Kenya mzima, sio mahali moja, na tunaomba serikali wachunguze kama ana hatia, aendelee na kazi yake, kwa sababu kazi yake ilikuwa imeanza kuwa mzuri. Hata tulikuwa tumepelekea Kenya Power juzi mahali penye tunaishi tuko karibu watu 200, tukapelekea listi yote ya majina ya watu. Tulikuwa tumechangiwa pesa hata wakati ya Mheshimiwa Chief Kitony, na ni ile tulikuwa tunashughulikiwa kwa hapo. Wenda sasa vile mambo imekuwa kwa serikali, tunaomba serikali wachunguze na ajiliwe na kazi iendelee vile ilikuwa inaendelea.
Unaona serikali inaweza imetoboa ama imefanikiwa katika kupigana na vita dhidi ya ufisadi?
Kwa majina naitwa Titus Koskei, natoka mkazi wa Elgeyo Marakwet. ile vita tiki ya ubisati kwa kaunti ya Kenya imekuwa kubwa sana, changamoto karibu departments yote kama ya Kenya Power iko corruption, iko ya NYS, na serikali tunaomba serikali ichunguze, ingilie kati, sababu hii department yote corruption. So tunataka serikali ichunguze na isilalie community moja. So tunataka serikali ichunguze, kama mtu amepatikana kama amechukua pesa, mkono wa sheria ichukuliwe, na kama mtu hajapatikana na hatia awachiliwe. Kama sasa Tarus kama MD ya Kenya Power anatakana achunguzwe, kama amepatikana na hatia, alichukua pesa ya umma, mkono wa sheria ichukuliwe, kama hajapatikana awachiliwe. So tunaomba serikali ichunguze kabisa, sababu corruption imekuwa juu sana. Sasa mimi kama taxpayer, mimi nataksiwa na watu wanaiba pesa. Tunaomba serikali ichunguze kabisa kwa hali ya juu, sababu mimi naumia kama Mkenya na nakatiwa ushuru, wanachukua pesa. So naomba serikali, kama serikali imeshinda kusimamisha maneno ya corruption, waambie wananchi hakuna kukata ushuru. So tunaomba serikali ichunguze, kama ukipatikana uenda ndani, kama wewe ni kabila gani na umepatikana na corruption ndani. So tunaomba serikali ichunguze kabisa, sababu pesa ya umma kama NYS ni pesa mingi. Sasa watoto ya NYS hakuna wanakaa tu. So tunaomba serikali ichunguzwe, kila mtu, hata kama wewe ni kiongozi na upatikana kama na hatia umechukua pesa ya umma, uwekwe ndani. So mimi naunga serikali upatikana na
imeweza kukuathiri vipi? Tumeona kwamba kweli pesa nyingi zimepotea. Kuna wachache ambao wale wameshikwa, sasa wamefikishwa mahakamani. Wewe kama raia wa hapa chini, mwananchi wa kawaida, imekuathiri kivipi kwa njia ya moja kwa moja?
So sababu watu wengi wamekamatwa. So tunaomba ofisi ya DPP ichunguze kabisa, isiwe mtu anakamatwa na kuachiliwa. So tunataka mkono wa sheria ifuatiliwe kabisa mpaka wajue hii mtu amechukua pesa ama hajachukua. So tunaomba ofisi ya DPP ichunguzwe, na niko na imani na Nurti Haji kama amechaguliwa kiongoza tume ya DPP.
Wacha niweze kusikia kutoka kwa mwingine.
Kweli imetuathiri sana kama wafanyikazi wa Elgeyo Marakwet. Tunajua kwamba tuko na watoto wamemaliza university. We have also children who have gone through all sectors of education or job. Na kama watu wanaendelea kuiba serikali, then hata watoto wenyewe hawatapata kazi, because uchumi ya Kenya haiwezi endelea. The economy of the country will go so much down, and we shall so much suffer as the people of Elgeyo Marakwet and all over Kenya. We have a problem because of economy, and we have no money for development and projects, because corruption is going through schools. I know in many schools, in primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary colleges, there are corruption. They should start corruption, and there should be lifestyle audit in all the departments of Kenya, so that those who are doing corruption should step outside, and then those who are genuine, who are men of integrity, must come in to the offices and do well in our government, because we are suffering. We are going back so much, many years, in centuries. I was born in 1969, and I'm seeing Kenya is going the wrong side. And it's very hard to destroy corruption in our country, because it starts from the big men. When we go back to the colonial periods, there was a lot of corruption that was done. Shambas were taken, money were taken, other presidents, from president to presidents, we are dying in corruption. I am praying really to God that this monster of corruption be destroyed in our country, because we, the Wananchi, are suffering. Sugar is going up, commodities, essential commodities are going up in all our dokas. All places we are suffering. Even the Wananchi down there, down the Kerio, I come from the Kerio Valley down there. And when you go around there, I'm telling the MCAs and the governor, people are dying because the economy is so much down, so that there are no projects, there are no developments, people are going down so much in activities. Corruption is a very big monster that should be dealt with.
Okay. Asante sana. Wacha niweze kusikia kutoka kwako nikimalizia. Maoni yako kuhusiana na vita dhidi ya ufisadi?
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Leonard Chilimo. Mimi ni mkaaji wa Iten. Na nasema ukweli, corruption, this is a problem in Kenya. Ni kama cancer. And hatusemi corruption peke yake iko kwa KPLC na NYS. It is across the board of all the departments of Kenya. Ngoja niseme, between 2011 and 2013, Chumo was not main director of Kenya Power. He was only a human resource manager. So nasema hivi ya kwamba mtu sio mwizi until proven guilty kwa kotini ya kwamba hii jamaa amechukua pesa. But by now tukiongea hivi, Kiken MD wa Kenya Power, huyu jamaa mwenye ameshika juzi, mimi naona kweli serikali wachunguze, lakini wachunguze vile walisema hiyo pesa ilienda, kwa sababu pesa haikupotea. Walisema it's only transformers ndio walileta ile sio mzuri, but by now those people are innocent until proven guilty by the court of Kenya ya kwamba wameipa pesa. Otherwise tuseme ya kwamba sio KPLC peke yake iko shida, iko kila mahali, iko kwa Kenya Pipeline, iko kila mahali ya Kenya, na tunasema hii ni ugonjwa na nitangulia kusema ni kansa ambayo imetokea. So tusione tu mahali pamoja ya department moja ya serikali ya kwamba wameipa pesa. Wakati ule wa NYS almost so billions ya pesa ilipotea. Wakati wa Goldenberg 5 billion to 20 billion ilipotea wakati wa Moi. So corruption ilikuwa kila serikali ya Moi, serikali ya Kenyatta, na ile serikali hata ya Kenyatta ya zamani pengine hata kulikuwa na corruption. So otherwise msione mtu tu amechukua pesa ati imetokea corruption, mnaona mtu tu ni mwizi. Hapana, mimi maoni yangu ni kwamba wacha kotini ichunguze, na hiyo jamaa kama hakuna makosa aendelee na kazi. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Betty, you've heard from residents of Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now they want the government to intensify the war on corruption. They want to see more heads rolling, and more senior government officials should be charged and also arrested.
Well, thank you very much, Elvis Koskei. Very interesting views from Kenyans there. I just want to give an opportunity to my guests to make their final remarks. And Javas, I'd like you to start also from the Supreme Court, which is yet to give an advisory on whether Chapter 6 is good enough to test whether a leader is fit enough to hold office. How come we're having this conversation right now?
Based on Chapter 6 of the Constitution, we have the enabling legislation, which was seriously watered down and is just as good as useless because it has not affected the very essence of leadership and the measures of integrity worth of public office. So the pronouncements as anticipated of the Supreme Court should be such that not just commenting on the suitability of the enabling legislation on leadership and integrity, but also making pronouncements that will strengthen the very measures of leadership and integrity that are desired. But that pronouncement may come and then go later, because we even have the various provisions of the Constitution, whether we have said, as it's stated and preserved in Article 10 or Article 232, or values of public, public service. But that has not been embraced fully by those who hold those offices. Maybe what is needed, beyond the pronouncements of the court, maybe what is proper is that any ruling, any person indicted of corruption upon determination of the courts, we need to have a government website that lists all persons charged of corruption and those indicted, and actually those that have been found guilty of corruption, so that anytime their name is searched, they are tied to the corruption case. The other thing, we know very well that corruption impedes service delivery. It is now important for President Kenyatta to realize one thing, that as he is championing and pushing for the implementation or realization of the Big Four agenda, Big Four agenda will only materialize effectively for his legacy if at all he makes sure that corruption becomes a thing of the past. Because today, Kenyans are not concerned about the Big Four agenda. Kenyans are so much concerned about the value for money of the taxpayers' money. And if there is that value for money, then in the end, working toward or service delivery toward the Big Four agenda will be achieved. Otherwise, unless that is done, the Big Four agenda will just remain a big lie.
A big lie. Kevin, your last final remarks.
I think for me, probably a few things. One is that let's look at the principle of separation of powers so that we are able to respect institutions and give them the power and oil to be able to do, rather to exercise their responsibility, so that then the executive is able to do its executive role of implementation of policies and procedures and programs of government. Judiciary is able to do its judicial responsibility of interpretation of law and guidance and all that. and that the legislature is also able to safeguard the interests of the people via their role of making laws and also representation.
Right.
Having said that is also to say that those institutions also need to be safeguarded. I don't know why EACC keeps saying we don't have powers to do this and to do that. And this is a game that has been going on over and over again. What is the issue and why can't we respond to that concern? Young people need to arise and really look at the future of this great nation. Big Four is great, but there are cross-cutting issues. One of them is the war on graft, like Javas has rightfully said.
Right.
Two is that regulatory framework that will be able to give an environment that will empower the young people of this country. And that is also to say that it doesn't have to be about who you know to be appointed into office. Let's appoint people from what they've been tried, tested, and have been seen to be doing. Let's emphasize on merit and people's histories, which is progressive and also patriotic to this country.
All right.
I don't know whether I'm anyone or anything really, Betty, to suggest that probably we need a committee on appointments of those who will be able to lead certain government parastatals and/or agencies or commissions, because I think through this particular principle, then the president should not be the one to be nominating and appointing at the same time. Can we be able to have a select men and women of reputable character, people who are of merit, people that Kenyans can be able to say, Betty is speaking for me, you know, being the people going out there to be able to even ask Kenyans, can you propose names of people that you want to take over as SRCs? And then they go and vet these people and then submit a name, because otherwise I am afraid that I'm a little bit afraid that we might spend too much time in the narrative as opposed to the practice. Yet Kenyans are looking forward to what is government doing with regards to service delivery, what is our money doing, and how is our money being safeguarded.
Being used and safeguarded. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. It has been a vibrant and interesting conversation. So whatever you've suggested sounds really good. Whether it happens or not, we wait to see.
Who am I, Betty? Who am I?
All right, Kevin Osido from the County Governance Watch, and also Javas Bigambos, and governance expert. Thank you for your time. All right, so we want to take a short commercial break, but we're coming in a few minutes to continue with our coverage. Remember also, we're looking at what you're talking about online on what's trending with Tandiwe Yego. We'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go away.